What if a dream that seemed to have vanished could be revived by a small action? And how can a small restaurant change the lives of a mother and her child, and even an entire community? Step into today's story and listen to empathize and draw meaningful lessons. At the same time, let us know where you are listening from. And if you enjoy stories like this, please subscribe to the channel to hear more. Raindrops tapped steadily on the gas station's canopy, blending with the sharp whistle of the wind. Red and blue neon lights flickered, reflecting across the slick pavement. In Lexington, Kentucky, under the heavy gray sky, a gas station stood resilient against the biting cold. A sleek black SUV pulled into the station. Donald Trump stepped out dressed sharply in a dark suit and long coat. He adjusted his leather gloves and glanced at the falling rain, his expression contemplative. Nearby, a young woman in a faded blue uniform and thin coat worked tirelessly. Amanda wiped the windshield of an old pickup truck, her movements brisk yet meticulous. She exchanged a few hurried words with the driver, possibly an apology for the delay. As the truck rolled away, she turned back to the pumps, ready for the next customer. Under the station's awning, Amanda's young daughter, Lily, sat on a small plastic chair. Her head bent over a battered sketchbook, her short red pencil tracing determined strokes across the page. Beside her lay other worn-down colored pencils, nearly too short to hold. Trump, standing in the shadow of the station, observed the scene with quiet curiosity. He walked toward Lily, his polished shoes leaving faint trails of water on the gray tiles. "What are you drawing?" he asked, his voice calm, yet soft enough to make Lily glance up. Lily blinked, startled, but not afraid. "A kitchen," she said simply. Trump crouched to her level and studied the sketch. A small, cozy kitchen came to life on the page. Striped tablecloth, steaming pot, and a blank sign above the counter. "Where is this?" he asked, his tone even, but interested. "It's where my mom and I will live." "Someday," Lily replied, gripping her pencil tightly. Amanda appeared, her hands damp from the rain. Her face tightened slightly at the sight of Trump talking to Lily. "Lily, don't bother the gentleman," she said, her tone polite but firm. "She's not bothering me," Trump replied, his eyes shifting to Amanda. "She's sharing her drawing with me." Amanda forced a smile. "Thank you, but she just likes to doodle." Trump glanced back at Lily. "It's not just doodles." His gaze returned to Amanda, as if searching for the unspoken weight behind her composed demeanor. A car honked at the next pump, and Amanda excused herself quickly. She hurried to assist, leaving Trump with Lily. The girl resumed her drawing in silence. Trump straightened, his gaze lingering on Amanda. Her movements were deliberate but heavy, burdened by the physical strain of pregnancy and the relentless demands of her life. Around the station, the rain continued to fall, the lights flickered and hurried footsteps echoed faintly. But in Trump's mind, a decision began to form. He didn't yet know its full significance, but he understood one thing. He could not ignore this mother and daughter, struggling to find a glimmer of light in the overwhelming dark. The gas station grew quieter as the night deepened. The sound of rain falling on the canopy became a steady rhythm, like an endless background tune. Amanda wiped her oily hands on her faded apron, her eyes scanning the pumps once more to make sure no customers were waiting. She walked toward the awning, where Lily sat with her head bent over an old sketchbook. "Are you cold?" Amanda asked, her voice low, but loud enough to cut through the sound of rain. Lily looked up and smiled. "No, Mom. I'm fine." Amanda sat down next to her daughter, hunching slightly as if to shield herself from the cold wind sneaking through her thin coat. She glanced at Lily's drawing, which now included new details: a small window with white curtains and a dining table decorated with paper flowers. "What are you adding here?" Amanda asked, keeping her voice gentle, though her face betrayed her exhaustion. "This is our dining table," Lily replied, her eyes sparkling. "I thought flowers would make you happy." Amanda smiled faintly, but said nothing. Her hand instinctively rested on her belly, where her second child was growing. A cold gust of wind swept through, making her shiver. "Can we go home, Mom?" Lily asked softly, her hopeful eyes looking up at Amanda. Amanda sighed. "Just a little longer. I still need to clean up before we leave." In the distance, the headlights of Donald Trump's SUV remained on, as if he hadn't left yet. Amanda glanced over, her eyes briefly reflecting a mix of suspicion and confusion. Suddenly, Trump stepped out, holding a black umbrella. His footsteps tapped lightly on the wet tiles as he approached. "Is your work done?" Trump asked, his voice calm and steady. Amanda startled slightly but quickly stood up. "Almost. Do you need anything else?" "No," Trump replied, shaking his head. It's so cold. And you and your daughter are still here." Amanda looked down at her hands and shrugged. "I'm used to it. If I don't work, I can't pay the rent." Trump's gaze shifted to Lily, who was still sitting quietly with her colored pencils. "She's still drawing, I see. She's good." Amanda chuckled softly. "She loves drawing. It's the only way for her to forget everything around her." Trump raised an eyebrow. "Do you ever draw?" Amanda hesitated. "I don't have time for that anymore." "But you used to, didn't you?" Trump pressed, his tone curious. Amanda's eyes turned distant. "A long time ago, before I had Lily, and before Jake left." "Jake is—" Trump prompted. "Jake, my husband," Amanda said hesitantly, her eyes drifting toward the horizon. "When he found out I was pregnant with our second child, everything changed. One morning, I woke up and he was gone. He left a note saying he couldn't handle another responsibility." Trump stayed silent, allowing her to continue. "That day, I had a morning shift at the bakery. Lily was just 4 years old. I didn't know how to answer when she asked why her dad wasn't coming home. I told her he was busy, that he'd come back, but deep down, I knew he wouldn't." Amanda paused briefly, taking a deep breath. "The first few months after Jake left, I just focused on surviving. Mornings at the bakery, evenings cleaning offices. At night, when Lily was asleep, I'd sit and count every penny to pay rent, buy food, and save a little for the baby. Some nights, I'd look in the mirror and not recognize myself anymore." Trump watched her silently, his gaze dropping to her hands, which trembled slightly in the cold. "How did you get through it?" he asked, not out of curiosity, but as if trying to understand the strength of the woman before him. Amanda shrugged. "There wasn't a choice. I couldn't fall apart. Lily needed me, and so did the baby." Trump didn't respond, standing quietly as he took in her words. "She seems happy," Trump finally said, nodding toward Lily, who was happily adding to her drawing. Amanda smiled faintly. "Lily is stronger than I thought. She never asks why we don't have nice toys like other kids or a real home. A few colored pencils are enough to make her happy." Trump turned back to Amanda, sensing the weight she carried, but in her weary eyes, he also saw a faint glimmer of hope, something fragile but alive, waiting to be rekindled. "What was your dream, Amanda?" Trump asked, his voice softer now. Amanda hesitated, then replied quietly, "I used to dream of opening a restaurant. A place where people could sit, eat, and feel at home. But that's just a dream. It doesn't matter anymore." "Maybe dreams matter more than you think," Trump said, his eyes reflecting an idea forming in his mind. "We shouldn't give up on the things that make us truly alive." Amanda didn't reply, but her gaze wavered. In that moment, something small, almost imperceptible, stirred within her. Lily looked up suddenly, her voice breaking the silence. "Will you come back?" Trump smiled. "Yes, I'll come back." Amanda said nothing, watching him walk away. His words, though simple, had touched a part of her she thought had been lost long ago. Morning in Lexington began with a thin mist draping the streets. The sun had yet to rise, but the sounds of a new day slowly filtered through the haze. Amanda pulled her thin coat tightly around her as she stepped out of the small apartment she shared with Lily. The gas station where she worked wasn't far, just a few blocks away, but every step in the biting cold made the distance feel much longer. At the gas station, the stillness was stark compared to the bustle of the previous night. Amanda started her shift by cleaning the pumps, her eyes frequently darting to the awning where Lily sat on an old plastic chair, her sketchbook balanced on her lap. The girl was still sleepy, but her small hands moved steadily across the paper as if drawing were her only way to connect to a better world. As Amanda worked, she couldn't shake the words of the strange man from the night before. This little girl needs a mother who not only sacrifices, but dreams. His statement echoed in her mind like a sound that refused to fade away. Suddenly, the deep rumble of an engine broke her thoughts. A familiar SUV pulled into the station. Amanda recognized it immediately. It was Donald Trump. She froze for a moment, startled, but quickly regained her composure and resumed her work as if nothing unusual had happened. Trump stepped out of the vehicle, carrying 2 large paper bags. He walked toward Amanda, stopping when he noticed her cleaning the windshield of another car. "Good morning," Trump said, his tone as calm as ever. Amanda turned, her eyes showing a mixture of surprise and hesitation. "Good morning. I didn't think you'd come back." "I told you I would," Trump replied, placing the 2 bags on the counter. "I brought a few things. Do you have a moment?" Amanda hesitated, glancing at Lily. The girl was now paying attention to Trump, her eyes lighting up at the sight of the bags. Amanda sighed, wiped her hands clean, and stepped closer. Trump opened one of the bags and took out a brand new box of colored pencils, their vibrant tips neatly arranged. Lily gasped, unable to hide her excitement. "Pencils!" she exclaimed, her small hands trembling as she picked up the box. Amanda looked into the bags and found other items, a few essential groceries, a new coat, and a small envelope. She picked up the envelope, opened it, and saw several bills inside. "What are you doing?" Amanda asked, her voice shaking slightly. "Just a little help," Trump said, his tone sincere. "Don't think of it as charity. Think of it as giving you time to reflect on your dreams." Amanda clutched the envelope tightly, unsure of what to say. She glanced at Lily, who was now beaming with joy as she inspected the pencils. "And this," Trump said, pulling out a small flyer and placing it in front of Amanda. "A free cooking class. I thought you might want to try it." Amanda took the flyer, reading the bold text. Her hands trembled, whether from the cold or the surge of emotions, she wasn't sure. "Why are you doing this?" Trump simply smiled. "Because sometimes we all need a little hope." Amanda stared at him, her thoughts racing, yet a faint spark of something, perhaps determination, was kindled within her. At that moment, Amanda realized that this wasn't just an act of kindness. It was the start of something bigger, a turning point that would change her life and the lives of her children forever. Amanda and her daughter Lily arrived at the cooking center for the free class Donald Trump had recommended. For Amanda, this felt surreal. She had never imagined she would step into such a professional space. Lily, sitting beside her mother in the center's kitchen, stared wide-eyed at the gleaming pans on the walls, modern gas stoves, and neatly displayed fresh ingredients. It was a world Amanda once thought she would never have the chance to enter. "What do you think?" Amanda asked softly, her voice barely breaking the tranquil air. "I love it," Lily exclaimed, pointing at an oven. "Mom, I want to see you bake something in that." Amanda smiled, though a hint of nervousness lingered in her expression. Adjusting her white apron, she glanced at the recipe list in her hand. Even after attending a few sessions, she still felt out of place, as though she were wearing clothes that didn't quite fit. A friendly instructor approached her. "Ms. Amanda, have you decided what you'd like to make today?" Amanda hesitated, her eyes scanning the ingredients. Could I make lasagna? I'm familiar with that dish at home." "Perfect choice," the instructor said with encouragement. "Lasagna is a dish with soul. If you put your heart into it, it will shine." Amanda began preparing, though her hands fumbled slightly with the sharp knives and professional-grade tools. Sitting nearby, Lily watched attentively, occasionally chiming in with enthusiastic advice. "Add more cheese, Mom," or "cut that thinner." The light laughter of other students helped Amanda relax. The warm air, filled with the aroma of garlic, onions, and melting cheese, created an inviting atmosphere. Gradually, Amanda began to find her rhythm, her movements flowing naturally, like someone rediscovering a forgotten passion. "Lily, how do you think Mom is doing?" Amanda asked as she layered the final sheet of pasta. "You're amazing, Mom." Lily beamed, her eyes shining with pride. Once the lasagna was placed in the oven, Amanda sat down next to Lily. The waiting time turned into a moment of quiet reflection. "You know," Amanda began softly, "I used to dream of being a chef, but life didn't turn out the way I thought it would." Lily tilted her head, looking up at her mother. "But you can be a chef now, right? We're here already." Amanda chuckled. Her daughter's innocent words tugged at her heart, yet they also sparked a flicker of hope she hadn't felt in years. When the oven timer chimed, Amanda stood and retrieved the hot lasagna. Its rich aroma filled the room, drawing applause from the surrounding students. The instructor approached, smiling warmly. "You've poured your heart into this dish, and it shows. That's what matters most." Amanda turned to see Lily's proud gaze, which filled her with a quiet determination. This was more than just a cooking class. It was a new beginning. After a month in the program, Amanda's skills had grown significantly. She could now prepare a variety of dishes with ease, regaining confidence in herself and her abilities. That evening, as the session concluded, Amanda received a phone call. The voice on the other end gave her an address and asked her to come. Amanda, unaware of what lay ahead, agreed to the meeting, a decision that would mark the beginning of a new chapter in her life. That morning, Lexington was bathed in soft light after a night of rain. The sky was clearer, and the fresh air carried traces of lingering moisture. Amanda walked slowly along the sidewalk, each step pulling her toward an unknown yet intriguing destination. Beside her, Lily held her mother's hand tightly, her curious eyes taking in the small cafes and vibrant flower shops along the bustling street. They stopped in front of a small building tucked among lively storefronts. Its cream-colored facade and large glass windows let natural light flood the interior. What stood out most was the sign hanging above the door, Amanda's Kitchen, written in elegant, refined lettering. Amanda froze, her breath caught. "Mom, what is this?" Lily asked, her voice full of wonder as she looked up at her mother. Amanda didn't answer right away. She stared at the sign, her heart racing. Her name, written there as if someone had pulled her deepest dream into reality. The door swung open and Donald Trump stepped out, holding a key in his hand. He wore a long black coat, his demeanor calm yet purposeful. "I think it's time for you to see this," Trump said, as he approached Amanda and Lily. Amanda looked at him, her eyes wide with disbelief. "What is this? I don't understand." "This is your restaurant," Trump replied, his tone steady but filled with meaning. He held the key out toward her, inviting her to take it. "My restaurant," Amanda repeated in a daze, her trembling hands reaching for the key. "You told me about your dream," Trump continued. "I simply helped make it a reality." Amanda turned to look at the building, her emotions swirling. The sunlight streaming through the windows gave the place a warm, inviting energy, as if it were waiting for her to begin a new chapter. "Can we go inside, Mom?" Lily tugged at Amanda's hand, her excitement spilling over in her voice. Amanda bent down, meeting her daughter's eager gaze. Then she turned to Trump, her hesitation slowly giving way to trust. She nodded. As the door opened, a beautifully arranged space revealed itself. Gleaming wooden tables, cushioned chairs, and a fully equipped modern kitchen at the back made it a perfect setting. Warm, colored paintings adorned the walls, evoking a sense of togetherness and family. Lily ran around the room, her laughter filling the space. "Mom, it's so pretty. I love it here." Amanda walked slowly, her fingers brushing the polished wood of a table. It felt like touching a dream that had finally come true. "Why are you doing this?" she asked, her voice unsteady. "Because I believe in you," Trump replied, his gaze sincere, "and because I think this is where you truly belong." Amanda stood silent, her eyes scanning the room. Each corner felt alive, ready to breathe life into her aspirations. Suddenly, Lily's small hand tugged at her again. "Mom, will you cook here?" Lily asked, her eyes filled with hope. Amanda crouched down and pulled her daughter into a gentle embrace. "Yes, I will. This will be our place." Trump stood near the doorway, watching the moment unfold with quiet satisfaction. A faint smile crossed his face, as if he knew that his actions today had not only changed Amanda's life, but also brightened Lily's future. "The only thanks I need," Trump said in a firm yet kind tone, "is for you to make this restaurant a place full of joy and sharing." Amanda nodded, her eyes reflecting a newfound determination. She realized that Amanda's kitchen wasn't just a restaurant. It was a fresh start, a chance to rebuild her life, not just for herself, but for Lily and the dreams she had abandoned long ago. The small bell on the glass door chimed softly as the first customers entered. The warm aroma of tomato sauce blended with melting cheese, filling the cozy space of Amanda's kitchen. Soft yellow lights reflected off the polished wooden tables, creating an inviting and friendly atmosphere. Amanda stood behind the kitchen counter, her hands skillfully plating each dish with focused precision. Every lasagna, creamy mushroom soup, and fresh salad was meticulously prepared, as if she was pouring her heart into each creation. Lily darted between the tables, her cheeks flushed with excitement. She proudly introduced the menu she had hand-drawn, each word colored vibrantly. "Mom! Table 3 wants another bowl of soup," Lily called out, her sweet voice echoing through the small restaurant. "Got it, sweetheart," Amanda replied, not looking up but smiling as she worked. In the corner of the room, Donald Trump sat quietly at a table near the window, his eyes following every moment. He watched Amanda with satisfaction, noticing the transformation in her demeanor. The constant worry that once shadowed her face had been replaced by gentle confidence. "Mr. Trump," Amanda approached, setting a steaming plate of lasagna in front of him. I don't know how to thank you. If it weren't for you, Lily and I wouldn't have what we have today." Trump shook his head, his voice calm and steady. "I only gave you the opportunity. Everything you see here is because of you." Amanda remained silent, her eyes sweeping over the space, filled with laughter and happy faces. Her heart swelled with emotion. This was more than just a restaurant. It was a place where people connected, shared, and found comfort in simple, heartfelt meals. "Lily!" Trump called, motioning for the little girl to come over. "What do you think? Did your mom do well?" "The best in the world," Lily answered immediately, her eyes shining brightly. Trump chuckled. "Then you have to promise to help your mom take good care of this place, okay?" Lily nodded vigorously. "I promise. Amanda's Kitchen is not just the story of a restaurant. It is a symbol of change and hope. In the darkest moments, sometimes all we need is an extended hand, not to carry us, but to remind us that our dreams are still there, waiting to be realized. Remember, kindness doesn't have to be grand. A small gesture, a word of encouragement or timely support can transform someone's life. And when you receive help, make sure to pass it on to others. If this story has touched your heart, leave a comment to share your thoughts. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel to help us spread meaningful and inspiring stories. See you in the next one.